Gotham War is ending, with a scorched earth. Batman and Catwoman are at odds over the argument. Should they only focus on violent crimes or all crimes? Batman, meanwhile, is losing his own mental battle against his own creation, Zur-En-Arrh, a Batman without remorse in his brain, one who only thinks of the mission. This Batman has drugged Jason, fought the Bat family, and officially been cut off from the Bat network. But they discovered one major flaw in Catwoman's plan. She turned everyone into a small army, and all it took was a bigger, badder villain to promise them something more, like immortality, to get them to turn on her. Now it's an all-out war as the Bat family has to team back up and finish this. Scandal Savage reaches for her phone, ordering the thieves they've hired to strike quickly and acquire the ancient artifacts that Vandal Savage requires. Gain the fragments and you'll live forever, and if you fail, don't bother coming to the Nexus Point. She hangs up the phone and joins her father in the limo. You'll soon taste forever, daughter. I will be reinvigorated, and then Gotham will be ruled by the Immortals, Vandal says to his daughter as they pull away. Meanwhile, Tim Drake is leaping across the rooftops of the city, alerted to an attack in Gotham. He leaps down into the streets where he's surprised to find the civilians trapped by the weapons taken out of the Batcave. Tim looks up to see Batman's rogues stalking towards him. But before he can react, he's grabbed by Black Mask, Firefly, and Professor Pig. Tim tries to warn the rest of the family, but he is stopped by Two-Face. Go ahead. Scream. Scream for your friends. Scream for your life. Elsewhere, Batman, Catwoman, and Red Hood find themselves in the Brownstone, with the group quickly figuring out that Vandal Savage is after the weapons created from the meteor that gave him immortality. These fragments can make people immortal? Selina asks, and Bruce nods. I believe so. And possibly enhance them. He begins to explain that if the thief army becomes immortal, they'll end up ruling the city of Gotham. Bruce then tells them that he has the largest piece, believing that it may have been the source of the Lazarus Pit. But the discussion is interrupted when Selina sees the reports of the rogues' attack on the city, armed with weapons from the Batcave. This can't be a coincidence. It's a distraction. Batman growls, and Selina turns to leave, promising to try and herd her thieves. Batman then turns to Jason, who has started to be able to overcome and control his fear. What are we waiting for? Jason asks, still sketchy, still angry at Bruce for what he did to him. Bruce finally puts back on his comms, tying him to the rest of the Bat family. I'm here. One of our own is in danger. The city is in danger, and I'm tired of fighting each other when there's too much to be done. So many people to save. We're family. We disagree. I can make peace with that. I don't expect you to trust me, but I trust you. Go save Tim. I'll stop Vandal Savage, Bruce tells the family. Dick comes over the comms, confused by what is happening, and Bruce quickly fills him in on the situation. Now let's get to work, Batman says as he pulls on his mask, heading for the exit. He pauses for a moment to look back at Jason, who hasn't left his chair, fear gripping him again. I'm sorry, Jason. One day I hope you'll understand, Batman says as he turns away to leave. He heads over to the cave, hoping to track Vandal Savage's movements. He was able to track Vandal moving the weapons and meteor fragments to the front of the manor, where Barbara was able to track the large van the Savage's people are loading everything into. White Van headed to Gotham Observatory 4 nights ago, she tells him, so Batman moves quickly with Barbara asking if he needs backup. No, Savage is mine. Meanwhile, back in the city, the rogues are causing havoc, preparing to kill Tim Drake, but the rest of the family arrives. Saving civilians is the priority. Let's subdue these monsters, Nightwing says as he brings his motorcycle to a screeching halt, slamming into Black Mask. But the doors of the GCPD van burst open to reveal Scarecrow, who has infected the officers. Nightwing moves quickly, ordering the rest of the team to subdue the officers before they can hurt anyone. I've got this, Nightwing says as he draws his Eskrima sticks, rushing at the rogues. Elsewhere in the city, Selina has followed one of her former thieves, tailing him with his stolen bit of the meteor. She leaps onto his car soundlessly and holds on as he drives into the night. In a short amount of time, they all arrive at the observatory, where she sneaks in through the shadows until she finds Batman watching from the rooftops. Hey, she says with a smile, Batman giving her a glance. You're late, he whispers. They continue to look inside, where they see the thieves have gathered a large chunk of the meteor. But Batman can't figure out why the Savages are using the observatory telescope, until he finally realizes the truth. My God, The fragments aren't a source of power, they're a homing beacon for a larger meteor. It's too large. It's coming in fast. It'll turn Gotham into a crater. Catwoman looks at him, telling him that they have to save the day together. The Bat and the Cat. Moments later, the two have leaped down into the observatory, ordering Vandal to stop what he is doing, that he's going to destroy the city and everyone inside of it. Lies. I survived the same eons ago. Batman, enough talk. Kill them, my army, and live forever. Batman orders his group and his daughter. Back in the city, Nightwing is holding his own against the villains, but a venom-powered Professor Pig hits him hard, knocking him away. Back on the GCPD roof, Two-Face prepares to kill Tim Drake, but is hit from the side by an invisible Duke Thomas, knocking the villain out. He moves to free Tim. Tim thanks him and leaps into the fray. He orders the group to use the freeze and heat guns to stop Scarecrow's fear gas from becoming airborne. He then leaps down, grabbing a hold of Professor Pig, using his knowledge to unlatch the venom tubes and leave the villain struggling on the ground. He then whirls around where the others are pinned down by fireflies, telling them that the freeze gun he's using has a delay between shots. Realizing this, Batgirl and Robin leap in, hitting him with batarangs. In moments, with the help of Tim Drake, who's finally freed, the entire group of rogues is defeated. Oh man, how'd you do that? Nightwing asks as he joins his brother. Tim smiles, explaining that Batman told him to study. Tim took that seriously. It's the only way to become the second best Robin, he tells Dick. But back over at the observatory, Batman and Selina are fighting through the goons. That's when Vandal Savage charges forward, grabbing Batman by the throat. You would deny me the power that is rightfully mine. Vandal snarls. But Selina is there, kicking Scandal aside, snapping her whip around Vandal's neck, pulling him away from Batman. Stumbling away, Batman gets to the comms, warning the rest of the family that there is a meteor approaching Gotham City, and he orders Barbara to try and get a hold of Superman. Justice Leaguers aren't responding. I'm putting the word out, but I don't know what else to do, Barbara says. Back at the brownstone, Jason is struggling to his feet, turning his fear-filled gaze until it falls on the Batwing. At the observatory, Batman is trading blows with Savage when Barbara warns him that the Batwing has taken off and it is barreling towards the meteor. That's impossible! I haven't finished the auto! Jason. He realizes with realization that Jason Todd is aiming the Batwing towards the meteor as his voice comes over the comms. Don't sound so surprised! He stammers, fighting through the drugs that Batman has pumped through his body racked with fear. I need to concentrate, so I'm gonna go. You can sit with the fact that you were wrong about me, he tells Batman before he cuts off the comms. Over the city, the family watches as the Batwing slams into the meteor, blowing it into smaller pieces. The pieces begin to rain towards the observatory, as Batman leaps to grab a hold of Selina and rush them both to safety. As the smoke begins to clear, the two begin to pull themselves from the crater. But below they watch as Vandal and Scandal are sliding towards the large chunk of meteor that is glowing at the bottom. Give it to me, old man, like you promised! Scandal is snapping at her father, but Vandal pushes her away. Stop! We don't know how much power it contains, so I should go first, he tells his daughter. She begins to argue with him, but he pulls her close, and he stabs her in the stomach. I haven't stayed alive this long, Scandal, by playing fair. He pushes her away, and he turns back to the meteor, putting his hand on the glowing rock, energy beginning to spark as his eyes widen in surprise. Wait, the power. It's different, he gasps as the meteor begins to shake and the ground rumbles beneath everyone's feet. Up above, Jason is watching as he slowly parachutes to the ground. And Scandal can't escape the crater as blood begins to pour out of her wound. Selina refuses to let her former friend die. She may be Scandal Savage now, but she was Marquise. She was the one that helped build all of this. Selina leaps down to save her friend, but Batman joins in pulling Scandal to safety. The ground begins to rumble again, and Selina slips. She loses her footing, dropping into the green liquid that has begun to form at the bottom of the crater. Selina! Batman yells out, still holding the wounded Scandal. Another blast of energy throwing Batman and Scandal up and away, with Selina disappearing into the green glow below. Batman stares into the destruction of the crater. Selina, I'm so sorry, he whispers, but a hand suddenly is on his shoulder. He turns to find Jason alive and well standing over him. It's 2 weeks later that Batman stands on a hill, overlooking the government camp that is studying the meteor. Dick joins him, asking if there's any signs of Selina Kyle, but Bruce shakes his head, explaining that Waller isn't interested in looking for survivors. "She's gone, Dick," Bruce says as they return to the car. Dick looks to the man who helped raise him, telling him that everything that happened, especially with Jason, was going too far. Bruce finally agrees. He tries to explain that it's not Zur-En-Arrh infecting his mind, that he has contained Zur-En-Arrh again. But he does agree that he isn't the person who should be leading the family. And that's when we see in the back of his mind somebody affecting that decision, somebody telling him what to say. Zur-En-Arrh is in fact there. Bruce continues. "This life is just mounting tragedies. I'm okay with me not having happiness, but it kills me in the soul that none of you have it either." Bruce tells Dick, but Dick disagrees, explaining that everyone in the family does this because they want to, not because Bruce forced them. "And you're wrong. I'm happy. Barbara and I are happy," Dick tells him. Bruce nods and agrees, explaining that that's why Dick should be the one leading the Bat family. He gets up into his car and he starts it up again. "Take care of them, Dick. Give them every opportunity to leave this life before it's too late." That night, Batman slips into an abandoned apartment where he finds a Riddler puzzle that comes to life, revealing Nigma's face. "What do you want, Riddler?" Nigma smiles. "I wanted to thank you for undoing that dreadful League of Thieves. Several ex-employees have already come crawling back to me. I also wanted to present you with another mutual goal. The Joker. He's causing all kinds of grief, so I have a riddle for you, Batman." But Batman stops him and picks up the device, shutting it off. "I already know that there are 3 Jokers, Nigma." He puts the device away and walks back outside, heading off into his city, where he thinks, possibly, he catches a glimpse of Catwoman in the shadows. Elsewhere, not all of Selina's thieves have returned to the life of a goon. One is still stealing from the rich, using the training that Selina gave him. And he slips into Bruce Wayne's brownstone, eager to see what he can take. But what he finds is something that surprises him. "Holy shit! Batman is Bruce Wayne?" The thief gasps as his flashlight falls on the equipment in the basement, bringing us to the conclusion of the Gotham War. Now, of course, the question is, what did this actually affect in the world of Batman? Well, Batman is no longer working with the Bat family due to Zur-En-Arrh's influence. Batman has been cut off from the Bat Network. Batman managed to inject Red Hood with a fear toxin. Who knows where that's gonna go? The Lazarus Pits may or may not have been revived. No one really knows, but a green goo is now beneath Gotham City. And if it was revived, it was just the one, not the entire planet. And people are believing that Catwoman is dead, though we, the viewers, know that she probably isn't due to the fact that she was literally over there. She was a shadow. It's also going to be interesting to see what happens between Dick and Tim, since Tim obviously could be the leader of the Bat family, but Dick Grayson is already leading the Titans. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of the Gotham War. But the story of Batman will continue. The story of Dick Grayson will continue. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time, right here at Comic Storian.